Can you hear me? I can't hear anything. I think you're on mute. Can you hear me?
I've been sitting here talking the whole time on mute.
I thought I couldn't figure StreamYard out on my phone, and I'm like, is this connected to my car, like my car, and I can't hear it? Glad
My
it was
bad.
you, not me.
My bad. Okay,
What
for
were
the
you
last
talking
2 minutes,
about?
I've been talking about.
That's a car.
I was just talking about last week because I came, hey, it's time for our mastermind with the leaders, SUBTO leaders, and cracking up. So, okay. So we had an idea to start a little mastermind with some of the leaders, talk about our business, the ups, the downs, all the things. And last week it was pretty interesting. I took a lot of notes last week. Declutter, slow down. Let's see, what else did I have? That's freaking stuff, but just kind of get your head screwed on straight. Because I've actually been talking to a lot of wholesalers over the last few days. A lot of people are struggling right now. A lot of people are struggling just to get leads. And looks like what's up, Mike?
Whoa, that was surprising. Didn't expect that to happen. How do I look? Do I look okay?
You better get ready.
All right, I'm camera ready.
The Red Ranger is here.
Shh, we're not supposed to talk about that. That was a secret.
Sorry.
No one knows that I'm the Red Ranger.
Oh, now they
You're
do.
not.
Or the president
You're
of the
not
Don
the
Walker fan club.
That's somebody else.
Hey, Myron.
Yo.
Sorry
Well, nothing better than being on mute for 2 minutes, but
I'm always on mute for 2 minutes.
Angie?
Pace is like, I'm gonna get you a coffee mug. This is Carly, you're on mute. So it's nice to see other people pull up me. You're in good company, Myron.
Yeah. Good. That's good. I'm glad I can help you with that part of. I can help you with something today.
You did. You did.
Angie dropped off. But yeah, so last week we just talked about some good things, some crazy things, and so Carly, I guess you're busy. You're getting some vans ready and stuff. Yeah.
Some what?
Some vans. Are you doing some van stuff?
I am doing some stuff. I'm always doing some van stuff. I have found myself in a wholesaling situation for vans, like Sprinter vans, like campers, RVs, all that stuff. And I'm working with Heather Blankenship to help her get one, which I'm really excited for. If you guys don't know her, she's
Yeah.
She sounds great.
I know Heather Blankenship.
You do? I love her.
Oh, you dropped off for like probably 30 whole seconds.
Sorry.
It was all when you were pitching Heather
her
Blankenship as a
Instagram
person.
I'll go hook up to my actual computer.
But yeah, she's really cool. So that's awesome that you met her and you're trying to get her a deal.
I know. What are you up to this week?
Does she live near you?
Do you do your?
Do you live near Heather?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I think she lives in like over by you. More easty than you guys. I don't know where she lives. I should ask her. I think she's in like Louisiana or somewhere over there. Alabama. I don't know.
Okay. One of those states.
One of those states that's far away
Got it.
from me. I'm going to drop off on this and I'm going to go on my computer so it's better so I'll be back.
Okie dokie.
Hey, Myron, you started talking about some of the issues that wholesalers were having. I'm curious what your feedback was. I know you asked me that question, and my response was just one. But then I was thinking about all the issues that that we have in our business. It almost felt like an overwhelming question to answer. So I'm kind of curious what the feedback's been.
I talked to some people that who are doing deals. I talked to some people that are not doing deals. And the people who are not doing deals are like, dude, my leads are gone. I have no leads. And then people who are doing maybe 5 or 6, they go, I'm having trouble with leads. And, but they're grabbing like 5 or 6 a month. But then I saw some other guy, he's at like 23 a month. So he did not complain about that. He's like, I need more people. I need more staff. So I think the marketing channel, the people who are at 5 or 6 are focused. Like, I'm doing foreclosures, right? The people who are doing creative finance have told me I have no leads. Like, I just cannot get a deal. So I don't have any answers, but that's just kind of what people have been saying. But the people who are direct to seller have more. It seems like they have more going on than who are direct to agent right now.
Yeah, I think that the direct agent market changed a lot in the last 6 months. A lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're seeing that too, Myron, but we're seeing big changes. And I think that just with a massive influx in the fall, even earlier, of people calling on, for example, low equity on market deals, I feel like the novelty of that type of a transaction at this point, with an agent at least, is kind of over. And I think it also largely depends on when you contact that agent and what time of the listing. If you contact them on day 14, for example, those people have been hammered by that point with phone calls and emails and text messages and that whole thing. So I think it's just gotten increasingly more difficult to do those types of transactions. There are more people. And I think that the feeling around creative is, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to feel this way, but I kind of do. I feel like there's some bad deals going on and putting a bad taste in some agents' mouths, and that word is spreading a little bit.
There's also, I agree with you. I think there's also misinformation though, too. They're like,
Totally.
this is a scam. Hang up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay. I feel
Yeah. So everybody I talk to, I'm like, I have to get into cash. I have to get into cash deals. And like, did Pace and Cody start with creative? No, they started with cash.
Yeah.
And then creative happened because they wanted to figure out the debt lead.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, why don't we just take over their payments? And I'm like, and just exactly what you said, Mike, it's the novelty part. So people are making that part their main business. Mm-hmm. And then I've worked cash before, but I do not really know how to run a cash business.
I am with you.
And that's what I've been studying like the last week, is just how to do KPIs, how to do these. And even like, what sucks is SMS and cold calling are getting hammered with regulations. And so now we have to get on that side is like how to get in front of these sellers and not break the bank with PPC.
But even if you get those sellers and you get those deals under contract creatively, what I have found is find quality buyers to connect them with, because if we're wholesaling this, I'm like, I have to know who we're connecting this to, because I'm vouching for this person and it's my name on the line. And I know Mike and Don can tell you, and I'm starting to deal with this too, where they're like, the seller's coming back to us as the wholesaler and being like, I need help, which is, it's another catch-22 with creative.
They need help with what? What were you saying? After close, they need help?
For us, it's been a combination of the seller, but as a result of the buyer not performing for the most part. It's the buyer who isn't making a payment. And then, as the wholesaler, there are times when I forget to keep track of everything that's gone on in the past, right? And if a payment's not made, the seller is always the first one to be notified by the bank, right? They're still on the mortgage. So a call goes out to the seller. Right. Who does the seller call? They don't call the new buyer because you're the one who's really built a relationship with them. But here's the thing is that as hard as you try to create that relationship between the seller and the buyer, they're still, for the most part, going to come back to us. And it's, we've had 2 situations this week, for example, where we found out about situations like this and it's just putting out fires. And what I'm finding is that if I never had to assign another creative deal, I wouldn't do it. If I could buy everything or sell it to someone like Pace, who I know is going to perform, I would do that. But if it's even questionable, I don't want to assign it. I'd rather buy it or not even do the deal at all. It's just the juice is not worth the squeeze. That's what I'm feeling, at least personally. So if I could go cash, I would do that all day long. If someone wants to give me $100,000 to market for a few months, perfect. But check hasn't cleared yet. So, but yeah, that's the issue that I'm finding with direct to seller right now and cash deals is that it is cost prohibitive depending on how you choose to do it.
Well, I think you also have to work backwards where you're like you said, I have a buyer I know is going to perform and I'm going to go search their buy box and do it because, well, then there's a lot of hand holding too, for it's like, even with sub-2 students having their first sub-2 deal, because I'll only do sub-2 students that I trust and I vet. And then it's a whole, it's a lot of, you're earning your assignment fee.
Yep.
For sure.
And the assignment fee is not that much if you're comparing it to a cash wholesale deal. Are you feeling the same way, Myron?
So, bro, I made a $300 assignment. It was split. Yeah, I made a $300 assignment. I'm like, this is not worth. Why am I doing that?
Yeah. I
could consult and have no risk and make more money than that. So, so what are you going to do?
Was that rhetorical?
Mike, are you going to start? No.
You're actually asking. Okay. What am I going to do?
Yeah, no, I'm a direct person. So are you going to start? Are you going to do cash or what are you going to do?
I think the easiest transition for me personally, because I know creative more than I know cash. I have more experience in creative than I do cash. What I would do is, and I don't know if we're going to do this, but what I would do is just pivot to buying wrap opportunities and wrapping deals. That'd probably be my closest pivot. But if I were to change everything, I would probably either focus on just dispoing deals, or really invest pretty heavily into a direct to seller type of model. But as you guys know, I'm not the most appealing personality to sellers. So I struggle.
Why? What?
Look, if there's a grandmother there, I'm golden. I'm going to get the deal. But
okay,
because I can schmooze with a grandma. But yeah, it's a whole different model to me. I think that I would rather talk with an agent than I would a seller personally. So Angie,
hi.
Hi, I made it.
How are you?
Good. transcription very well?
I think you said, "Can we hear you?" Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I got you on my speaker. I don't know how to take it off in my car.
Yeah. Mike, have you been talking to other people doing wraps?
Yeah.
Are they struggling? Are they doing good? How is that going?
I think it depends on who you ask. You know, I think that it's, are you thinking struggling on the sales part of it, on selling to a buyer? I'm not, I am hearing stories of new people who are trying to wrap deals who are struggling. Yeah. It seems like
the old guys, they got it down.
I'm not hearing any stories from the older guys on unsuccessful transactions. Personally, have you?
No. No.
We've been doing a lot of wraps. We've been doing quite a bit of wraps. But we have some Spanish communities that we do them with. So
they come with a lot down.
Yeah, they come with a lot down, and that's what's really helped us doing our wraps.
Aren't those a lot of work?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to like they're like consistent. That's like a job, isn't it? I've heard things about wraps. Like, is it something where you guys can maintain a bunch of wraps, or is it like it's not bad?
Yeah.
Well, like what Mike said earlier, that you have a problem, they're calling you back. So if you've wrapped it, well, then you have a vested interest. You're making $100, $200, $300 a month, whatever it is. Then you feel good about staying in the deal and helping people. Then, you build up that portfolio and you can, sell it off, or maybe they default and then you do it again. So we've done a lot of wholesales where we didn't do that. But now everything that we're wholesaling that's an end buyer that's creative is going to be a wrap. It has to be.
Now, Dom and Angie, when you guys say wrap, are you guys saying that you guys are selling it to someone who's going to live there?
Yes.
And are you guys increasing the interest rates?
Yes.
Okay, got it. So it's a true kind of wrap situation.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Yeah, even if we get like $50 to $100.
Because we've done some that we didn't stay in it. We didn't wrap it. We just wholesaled it, and then we're getting calls back for help. We're like, dude, we can't help you. I mean, we have to charge you every time you call us. We're gonna have to charge you. Otherwise, how are we gonna staff for this? Like,
yeah,
forever calling somebody back when they sold you a car 4 years ago, and you're still calling that same salesman saying, hey, my car, how do I work the radio, and how do I do this? They can't do that. But we are looking at cash too. That's what I was trying to do. I brought a kid over. He said he knew cash, but he didn't sell one cash deal. I think to stay relevant, to stay in the game, you got to do all of the above. So we have retail that goes back and forth, right? So we have retail where it may not work for me on the retail side, but it works for the wholesale side, or vice versa. And they're uncovering leads and deals that I would have never seen. So that's helping us, right, doing that. I think you just need to diversify and have a lot of different things up your sleeve, especially, I don't care what anybody says. They keep saying that houses are going to go up. I think we're headed for some shit, personally. I mean, there's layoffs, there's interest rates high, all of that stuff. I don't think houses are going to skyrocket. I think they're going to go the other way. That's my personal opinion. If you look at like the data, I don't see how we're going to continue to climb. Nobody can afford houses right now. So if a $700,000 house went to $1 million, how in the heck? That's a big difference. How are people going to afford that? So I think we need to pivot and find what's going to happen, right? That's what we should do. What's going to happen when all these houses, start going lower? That's the next play. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I've seen I have an app on my phone that tells me the mortgage rates every single day. And I've seen it go up, 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 up. And I think it went down today, barely. And I don't know if it's like 7.4 or something like that right now, but yeah.
What is it at right now?
7.4. Mm-hmm. Oh, I put it in my story this morning. 7.39 or something like that.
You see everybody, mortgage people and real estate agents, you see them posting cheaper rates, but those are for stellar credit and different situations. It's not for the masses. So you're right.
Those are buy downs.
Right.
They're buy downs, or they're special like new buyers rate, or if you look at the details, you got to have an 800 score. I mean, there's all these different things. They're in the sevens easily. And 4.9, but it's from the new build. And
During the State of the Union,
what's that?
I don't know if you guys remember, but in February during the State of the Union, there was an article going around that the Fed was lying about the inflation, and they were trying to just like cover that the inflation was at a place where it wasn't, and it wasn't by much, to the point where they probably could cover their ass, and they didn't hike up the rates. Cool, they didn't do it, but now it's coming back to haunt them. And I think everybody thought those rates were going to go down in the summer for peak season, everybody jump up. But I don't think they should have lied. I think they screwed up.
I think they said that rates are going to go down right before the holiday season, so that way people would spend.
Yeah.
But
regardless, rates
like
go up.
The people I watch, they never predict. They always predicted that the rates would go up, and it's kind of common sense. If it goes down, houses are going to skyrocket again. Everybody's going to be buying them. Then sooner or later, houses are going to be so unaffordable. How's that going to work? And housing drives the whole economy, man. I mean, you could see that instantly in the house. Artificial inflated because of all the, BlackRocks and all of these people that have spent all this money and artificially inflated it. And from the interest rates being at 3%, 2% for so long, our market is not predictable. And it's not a normal market. So now people who live, in, let's say, Thornton, our area, their houses are, 5, 6, 700,000, but the income doesn't support that. So it can only happen for so long until prices have to go backwards. And if you look at rent rates, bugs the shit out of me. Everybody's like, yeah, that's you could raise those rent rates. Those are undervalued rent rates. No, it's not, man. Rent rates are going the other way. Do you guys follow Ventures on he's on YouTube? It's called RE space Ventures.
I'm not sure.
Go follow him, and he has an app. I pay for the app. There's a free one. He's doom and gloom, so he'll scare the shit out of you on some things, but his data is solid. You could go over. Shoot, if we go back in the office here, I can show you guys that. But if you look at that stuff and you really look at the data for the rent rates, not what told you or whatever, like the actual freaking data, it's nowhere near the rates that people think they are.
Hmm.
So definitely a cash world, and you're just gonna have to find better ways to hunt and fish and find these deals. All these people that want to JV with us and they take advantage of us, we're gonna have to stick to our guns of how they bring us those deals, because there's a lot of deals there, but those guys want all the money. They don't want to share it. But that's a great source, right? JVing with people. So I think we're just gonna have to pivot hard.
I know it's scary to assign these creative deals, but have you guys thought about the way Pace was doing with Privy, how you would find the investors that are buying these cash deals? What if we find somebody that has purchased these sub-2 deals that have had it for 6 months or more? And we assign to people like that.
There you go.
And how
I
could
never
you?
thought of that, bro. I never thought of how can I find sub-2 buyers? Because, yeah, how can I do that?
Jose, can you say that again?
Instead of using Privy for finding cash buying investors, we use whatever system we could find to see who's purchased sub-2 deals in the last year and a half that still owns them for over 6 months. And we
then
assign to them
what do we do with that?
just
You found
more
buyers.
more reliable buyers.
Yeah, but they another unless they were investors. As a wrap, are you saying, or
Nope, just straight assignments. They don't come back and kick your
We
ass.
could try that. just if they wrapped it, then when I pull the list, it's going to be the wrap buyer is going to be on the data. So it'd be a little bit tricky, but
You know what we
Yeah,
need?
but that'll be a personal, right? At that point, most likely. And then you can just tell that if it's an LLC, then that's your investor.
They got it to the end buyer, yeah.
I think what I'm trying is like Facebook ads. We got to find just regular buyers that we have. We got to get it out, and that's going to be the key. Is how we market that. Facebook paper is, it's just very, very expensive. Craigslist. We post on Craigslist. Believe it or not, people go there and like we found one today, maybe a land deal. It has nothing to do with a buyer, but a land deal. But getting more creative than just what everybody else is doing with PPC and that, and finding what works on Facebook. What landing works, like buy a home, for money down, this much money down, and not going to the bank. That's how you're going to find those buyers. But I think you do have to add a cash aspect of the business as well.
Myron, where's your head at? What are you thinking
Want to turn yours
is
on
your
over?
pivot?
Did you get the link?
I have been just making lists of like, okay, if I were to go to cash, I want to do cash and then creative on the back end. Okay.
Falls into the
And
bucket.
where would all those lead sources be? What are all the lead sources? I mean, like marketing channels, like cold calling, SMS, Facebook ads, Instagram, Facebook posts, JV, like da da da. I have 30 different marketing choices that I've pulled up, and so far, just what are all the way, and then so what I want to do is like, okay, let's try a couple, and what makes the most money, what costs the least, and what makes the most money. So I agree with a lot of what Dom was saying. Prices are going to go down. And so what I want to do is like connect with hedge funds and say, okay, what's your ARV that you're buying? Hedge funds are going to, it's like building next to Chick-fil-A. They know what's going on. Right. And so like, I want to talk to hedge funds and say, okay, what's your ARV right now? And they're just going to be my pulse. Because if they are dropping their ARV, that means, I don't know if this is just what makes sense in my brain. I haven't done this, but if they're saying ARV is dropping, then I'm going, okay, well, I need to get a better discount. I need to do these different things. And so I really use the calculator that Pace put out. I use that for every deal that I've been looking at for cash. And I want it to be a good deal for a hedge fund. If it's a good deal for a hedge fund, it's going to be a good deal for someone else too. So what I'm trying out right now is just JVing for cash and sending it to hedge funds. That's going to be I know what the buy exactly. I know what they want. And so I can just go find it. That's it.
I like that.
I have a question. Are you guys all wanting to stay wholesaling for like, is this your end goal? Is this the end game? Because wholesaling is a lot.
What do you want to do?
I'm just wondering. I don't want to wholesale forever. It's a means to an end for me because I'm having the same thing you guys are doing.
But it's your entry. It's your entry to cheaper deals. It's your entry to good connections that are getting these cheaper deals.
Sure.
So, I mean, wholesaling definitely shouldn't be, I don't think, an end game unless you're trying to build out a whole call center. which I don't think any of us are.
Hey, Jose, it's like if I want to have a passive lifestyle, it's not going to start with like no work. I have to work my ass off to get to the passive part. And I don't even think I'm not going to be satisfied with just like chilling. I just won't. I need something to do. So like, I'll probably make a mess and do something like, but yeah, you're right. Like wholesaling's not the end, Carly. Wholesaling's how we're going to get and find cool deals to buy and work our way into the lifestyle we want. But
meanwhile, I can see Carolyn being like, I don't know about you. I'm going to sit on a beach with a drink. You can go do stuff.
We will.
that is right. That is how it is.
I don't think any of us will ever stop wholesaling, but I don't think it's going to be number one, right? I don't think any of us want it to be the number one thing that we do, because to Carly's point, I want something that's eventually going to be passive. It's just going to bring in enough money, or the money that we want, and we can choose to work or sit back if we want. But I agree with Jose that I don't think anyone should stop wholesaling, because that's just bad business. You get a deal that doesn't work for you and you could sell it. Yeah,
For sure.
I don't want to do that as number one for forever. No way.
I feel like it's funny though, because a lot of people are having these problems. Like I have a bunch of deals. I just can't get anyone to help me consistently in these deals. So if you guys
help do what, Carly?
I have a bunch of leads just sitting in my inbox, and I hire people that are like sub-2 students, and I'm like, can you help me with this? And you can have a cut of the deal and blah, 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 blah. And then they're gone. Shiny objects.
What? Is it me, or does Angie come off as like the real estate godmother? She's like,
she is the fairy godmother.
She's like, all right, Dylan, come here. We're going to do this.
Come on.
I'm going to bring her a magic wand to Squad Up Summit. And at the end of it, it's going to have a house with sparkles on it.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
I think one thing that we've run into a lot too, kind of a little bit to your point, Carly. I know that you're super busy with other stuff too, but it's just bringing on people who can help you relieve some of that workload that are consistent. That's really hard.
The who, not how. And like what we were talking, what did Angie tell us to? I got that book, that blue book. What was that?
Buy back your time.
Yes.
What was
Carly,
that?
what do you need? What position? What kind of person do you need?
I need someone to follow up on these leads, because I have so many deals and I hate talking to people on the phone, even though I'm good at it. I have a bunch of warm leads. I just need to structure and close them. And I need someone that understands understands a creative deal, that's done a deal, that can pitch it, that can be like, okay, fine, then let's do cash. And here's overcoming objections, which if you go on sub-2, there's so many people that are like, I'm so happy to help. I want to learn, and I want to help, and I want to learn. But then you just spend so much time teaching them, and then
they leave.
Well, I don't care if they leave. I hope that I'm like, I hope you earn more money. I want you to earn more and more money and do more and more stuff. And I expect you to leave, but don't just like get trained up and then
deuces. Yeah.
Peace. I'm not showing up. By the way, I went on a 2-week vacation. I didn't tell you. Like I am more trusting. I have learned I need to be more team meetings, accountability. I have learned that. So I'm not perfect, but
why don't you and Myron partner up on that?
Why don't we round robin these leads and go live?
You guys want to round robin these leads?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I got the phone ready to go. Let's talk.
I got them in my inbox. I got them in my DMs. Got them.
That's what that Google sheet was for, that we were all supposed to use, just to put the leads in there and
got some
and help.
Why are these leads in your DM but not? Aren't you paying for CRM?
I am, but people will bring them to me. They're like, hey, Carly, I know you, because I'll talk about it. And that's what I try to do. And so it'll be newbies They'll be like, I heard you talk about helping this other newbie get a deal. Here's this deal I have. And so it comes in my inbox.
Do you have a deal submission sheet?
I do.
You need to put that on your Instagram.
Just send
I
them the
have
link.
it. I have it is on my Instagram. I have it. And then I start working these leads and I'm like, is this something I even want to give them my deal submission to? So I'm like trying to vet these leads. I'm like, that's another thing, helping newbies and then being like, you got to explain the whole thing to them, which is fine. Just I'm trying to get in there and be like, is this worth pursuing and giving them, telling them to submit it.
Make a loom like you did before, like what's a deal, what's not a deal, and put it on your form.
And then they have to, that's the other challenge we have. Myron's like, what's your challenge? We're like, getting them to listen to what's a deal and what's not a deal and giving the correct, they just like copy and paste a Zillow listing or something.
I hate that. I just delete those, honestly.
I do too.
I've never gotten one of those.
Oh yeah, dude. It's
Give me your lead
hilarious.
submission form. You want to get into mine? You can go into ours. You'll see a lot. They just don't.
That's what was happening with a lot of the baby elephants is like they just keep submitting leads from Zillow verbatim. They just copy the description and put it into our form.
And then have you called the agent? Well, no, but I think it's a deal. Can you call the agent?
How do you know it's a deal? Well, it just looks like it is. I'm like, okay, tell me why you think it looks like it's a deal. Like, what does that look like? Let me filter this out.
Well, yeah, the loom would solve that.
Yeah.
But they have to watch the loom.
And if they don't, then it's on them because you're not responding.
And then if they
understand.
send it to your email, you just delete it.
But what if I just got one in my DMs and I made a lot of money off of it. Like a lot. So now I'm just like, I'm really looking at my DMs and like looking at all of them.
Yeah.
So
Carly, if you could get them into a CRM or something,
they are. Most of them are.
I'll underwrite. I can underwrite, but I'm like calling to follow up.
I'm with you, Myron. I don't want to call and follow up. I want to underwrite. I want to structure. I want to do everything.
You need a closer on your team, huh?
I do need a closer.
Well, we can help you guys. We can help you close them.
Yeah, who's closing?
What CRM are you using, Carly?
Open Dispo, which is built off of what you guys use.
Yeah.
Mike and Don were gracious enough to help us build our Open Dispo, so we have the same layout as them.
It's great, isn't it?
Thank you guys very much.
Yes. You're welcome. Mike, why don't you help close them?
I mean, I would. I would. I'm happy to help with anything. And I think that's what's kind of cool about this group, right? Is that, we should all be helping each other do this stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
So and I don't want it to come off as we're not grateful. If anyone's watching this, we're extremely grateful for this place. It's just the bottleneck in our business.
Mm-hmm.
At least mine.
I titled my YouTube that I connected "The Ebbs and Flows" because there's highs, but there's also just as high as they go. They go pretty low.
Real freaking low.
Well, it's like Kate says, right? If you don't have problems, you don't have a business. It's so true.
Right.
True.
If you're not doing enough work, you're not going to run into problems. And, you're going to, when the problems happen, you're like, man, this isn't as easy as I thought. Well, then don't do the business.
Or it's the one that really just like breaks you, makes you super emotional. And you're like, this is bottom. This is
this amount. And then you get paid on it. And then the check hits.
Oh,
then you're like, okay, I'm here to
I could do this again, right? We just like glutton for punishment. Like, yeah, let's do this all over again.
Starting from scratch.
Well, I like getting beat.
You really earn your money.
Look, problems are good, right?
Wholesaling.
And now it's just trying to figure out where the problems are and who you need to help you with those problems, right? That's kind of why, Myron, you're having this thing in the first place, is talk about how we can, elevate everyone.
Yes, exactly.
And to show people that there's some dips. It's not all, hey, everybody, look how many deals I just sold, success posts.
Yeah.
Let's bring in the real stuff.
And a lot of times people think that, because someone's name is said a lot or they're visible and they have, you see them everywhere, that they don't deal with the hard stuff.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That is not true. That's further from the truth. Like Mike was saying, you get more problems, you get bigger problems the more that you do. So don't let the highlight reels make you think that there's no problems at the top or whatever that person's top is at that moment. There's always a ceiling to be broken at every single high and every single low. Just every time you go higher, that's further for you to drop. So if you're not prepared for it, you need to find people that are going to help ease that blow a little bit.
I like what you said too, where like just because someone's mentioned a lot, like I know this happened with a lot of elephant challenge leaders. A lot of us were elephant challenge leaders, and then people would come. I would hear a lot of it because I was helping pace with it, and they'd be like, "So and so's not responding," and I want to be like, "You guys have to give us grace because we're like 3 steps ahead of you guys." Building a team and lead influx and calling all these things. This is new to us too. So just because we're leaders and we know what we're doing, we're only 3 steps ahead of you guys. We're not some built out customer company with like call centers and payrolls and like, so I think it's important for others to understand just because someone's mentioned a lot, we also
We're learning.
We're learning too.
And we're dealing with a lot of stuff that, that shouldn't be in front of us in the first place, right? We're cleaners, right? That one, push that one away, push that one away. Oh, here's a good one, right? There's a lot of stuff to filter through.
Yeah.
Just got thrown a rap to be a cleaner. And I was like, I don't know if I want a sub 2 to wrap it.
Jose, this was
wrap a
our call
wrap?
yesterday, was it?
Huh?
This wasn't our call yesterday, was it?
No, another one.
He's like, shoot, Mike's here.
No, another person substituted it. They thought they could wrap it. By the original seller wants to wipe it out from under them. They're not performing, and I'm like, you need to get reserves. It's not just the entry fee. You gotta have those reserves. So we'll see. I might be in 0 down though.
Dope. Where is
What's
it?
this for?
A deal here in Florida. I'm gonna say Central Florida.
Where are you guys buying? Where's everyone buying? Because this is live streaming. So if you guys have deals where we're
I want to buy in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Just as long as it's not, some one horse town outside of
Where in
Metroplex,
Texas?
we're good.
Mike?
I want to buy anywhere within 15 miles of a city center, like a major city center. DFW, San Antonio, Austin, Houston. Probably.
Okay, so creatively?
Preferably. Yeah.
Okay, I think we have some in San Antonio. Austin, do we have deals in San Antonio, the one that you got under contract? Yeah, we have one, Mike.
Okay. All right. Well, we want to take a look at it.
Okay.
Myron, it's interesting. We're kind of talking around this whole thing, but I wonder if there's like an idea of fixing problems from past sub 2 deals. I don't know if that has any weight at all, but what we're seeing a lot of are these sub 2 deals that are unfortunately failing, right? The buyers aren't making their payments.
Yep.
So, I wonder if there is some sort of like a sub 2 recovery. My wife just brought me Cheerios. How cool is that?
Love it.
Oh,
The best.
Lauren spoils you.
I know.
Just keep it original.
I want
But-
some Cheerios.
No, this is honey nut. I don't do original, bro. This is honey
No, that's my original. Sorry.
Oh yeah, that's original to me too. But I wonder if there's something there, like a sub 2 recovery fund. Call us if you're behind, if you've picked up a deal, and we'll take it off your hands or whatever.
Hey, you got a bad
Maybe-
rap? Send it our way.
Yeah. Hey,
recovery fund.
you want to maintain your reputation? Come to us first. Everything is done anonymously. I don't know.
Yeah. In top tier, Molly went over that. Since I'm in top tier, she went over how to sub to a sub 2, how to do it carefully, because those are pretty dangerous, especially when it comes to certain lenders like Penny Mac. You've heard horror stories on that stuff.
Okay, so I would sub to the sub 2 and then wrap it or whatever.
Or just keep just
hold
keep it
on to
like,
it.
yeah.
But what's the difference between wrapping it?
That's my question. How can you sub to a sub 2?
Essentially, it's the same thing. It's just the exit is the wrap.
It's a mirror wrap.
Okay, so it's just a mirror wrap.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because you don't sub to at the purchase price of the previous buyer. You sub to at the purchase at the loan amount. Because essentially the first buyer that didn't perform is losing out on the money.
Oh, I see. I got you.
Their purchase price is higher, but you're getting it lower since you're coming in and fixing everything. What I'm trying to get down pat is when someone does that transfer, does the transfer have to go back to the original owner before you can take over, or do you take over from the new end buyer?
If they've defaulted, I don't think that they would have you would have to wait for that.
Depending on the paperwork.
Depending on the paperwork.
And a lot of people doing it wrong.
So many.
Hopefully you can take it from the end buyer, honestly, because seeing all that flip-flop recorded I wouldn't like that.
Well, as long as it's pre-default or pre-whatever,
yep.
Then all you have to do is just buy it from the end
What
buyer.
did they want for that property?
We had a wrap. Well, let me just say it this way. We sold a sub 2
I'm
deal,
asking that because I want to know
and the person
your
who bought
options,
it
'cause there are,
said, okay, I don't want this anymore, and he gave it back
homes
to
that
the
are-
seller. Like
a lot of
the
people
buyer
have
gave
that
it
are
back, so it wasn't like
really nice.
Like a quick
Yeah.
claim.
And if they already have all those
Yep,
other
he
things
just
in place,
quick claimed it back,
then
and now
you
we're
can
reselling it
that
again.
home pretty fast.
But you're reselling it at the original seller's
There
name.
you go. Okay. There you
Yes,
go.
the
Okay, so
original
that's
seller's
cool.
name, but he wants us to dispo it
Yeah.
again. So that's what we did the first time, and he sold it sub 2, subject to, but now that buyer gave up all his money and said, I don't want this anymore. It was just
They're,
like,
they're honestly awesome deals because that second buyer, you're coming in, it's like somebody bought a brand new car, put a down payment.
What
They're
have you heard people trying to offer you for your
yeah, right.
lot?
You're usually going in with no money down.
Just maybe
So-
catch up payments.
A payment or two. And the agent already got paid if there's an agent on it.
And you don't have any major closing costs.
Right. I think you still do pay it.
Something, yeah, but it's probably not the full.
Not as much.
So one guy around here is dealing with a big portfolio of failed sub 2s. 100 plus properties.
Yeah, I'm helping out with that.
They were
part of
going
that.
off with what the house was worth, they thought.
I'm helping it, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We just found out this week.
Is this the big
Yeah,
one that
Dawn,
happened
I
last
think
month?
I told you.
People are collaborative where you want everybody.
I think we should
Yeah.
kind of talk about this because
Different
we get
styles.
what's happening,
I
but
like
we're
people.
talking about a lot of failed sub 2s, and if people who are new to it or agents or something that are watching this, I think we should also talk about how
What
if
you could
sub 2s
do,
are failed, it's not going to be we will come in and save it. It's not the end all be all. Like if someone doesn't pay, the buyer isn't screwed. I think we should touch on that especially because this is live. We know this, but I feel like for people maybe that are still learning about it.
and then when we
Well,
get
I
all
think
that
what
approval,
this person
and then
did was,
close, then
so
you
he
get
just
paid,
got
you have all that
a
money to
bunch
go buy
of wraps.
home.
He did a bunch of
But you
wraps,
just
but
stay
what
in
he
your
was
home
doing was
the whole time.
getting private money for before he even had a buyer. So a lot of that private money went towards commissions and assignment fees, and the private money lender's money was for commissions,
When you do land, you just
not
don't
going
buy
to the
it and
seller.
then it's ready to go.
And then he didn't
Right.
do
So
anything
there's
after
a
the
whole
fact
bunch
that
of
he
processes that
never
go
tried
in
finding the
between
wrap
that.
buyers. He
That's why you're
didn't
able to
have
stay
anything in
home.
place. He didn't
Really
have his
best for
systems in
everybody.
place, and so that's what
Right
got
now,
really messed up because the
somebody would
payments
have to
weren't
give you
getting
like
made, and
300,000
just
and
certain
nothing
things were
because they
happening
have all
where
this
he didn't
time
have
where they don't have,
the right team and the right
to do it on the property. They're having to go to the county,
processes
whatever.
for it. So I mean,
Engineering stuff,
they could have been sold, but I think he just
depends.
he had too many.
The way we do
and
it, we could pay you more.
they
and
went
leave
south.
them
They went
inside
bad,
the
but
property.
now
Then
we're cleaning
you
them
don't ever
up.
have to leave until
Yeah.
you need to go.
Yep. Mike, what did we find out this week?
Well, same. Well, are you talking about Preakness? Yeah, it's a situation where the private lender who was making the payments could no longer afford to make the payments.
Didn't tell us.
And this is actually a situation where we had to buy the property before we resold it. So we had, in hindsight, we never should have done that, because we ended up losing money on the acquisition. We lost like $7,000 on it. And just because we said we were going to sell it to them, we sold it. We maintained our word, and we knew that we were going to lose money on it. So we ended up technically doing a wrap purchase to them, right? Or a wrap sale to them. We wrapped it to them, mirrored the financing. So technically we have a note on this. And so now we're just trying to figure out what to do with it. It's only about a month behind. So yeah, this is going to be the second month. But we're considering, do we want to, we're probably going to have to step in and pay the monthly payments that have been missed, and then pay until we figure out what to do with it.
Why can't you guys get a PML to get reserves?
We can. Yeah.
It's just, more money that
More in the hole.
Yeah.
And the Gator community is really reasonable with their pricing. So
Are you being serious?
no, I'm being sarcastic. No, it's
And
like
you're gonna pick up on Mike's sarcasm as we go.
Can I borrow $1,000? Sure, if the repayment's $99,000. Wait, what?
That's what they're taught.
Thanks, Carly.
It's good.
But yeah, it's to Carly's point, most we've had very few issues in the grand scheme of things, very few. And the issues that do come up are ones that where we just have to kind of maintain contact and figure out insurance issues or things like that. Not a big deal.
It's things that you also don't realize, that how well you did or didn't set upfront expectations with the seller, right? Hey, when things go sour, I'm going to need your cooperation. I'm going to need you to work with me on this because I want to solve it, right? I know it's uncomfortable. I know it's not ideal, but I'm not going to ghost you, but I need you to be here with me so we can figure it out, right? You learn these things along the way that you don't necessarily anticipate fully. I mean, how could you, right? You think the worst case scenario, and then a worst case scenario comes around. You're like, oh, I was not expecting that. How do you plan for that? And that's where everyone's like, oh, this is a great thing for a wrap. And I look at some of these transactions, I'm like, nope, no, it is not. And trying to explain why not, or why it is a good one. It takes a lot of time and practice and experience, I think, more so than just the explanation, right? Just the information about it. You have to talk to someone that does them quite often for you to realize what you're about to get yourself and the seller into, and how to plan for those best case and worst case scenarios, like Angie's doing, with the seller who's got this property back and he just wants her to dispo it again. Great. That's probably a best case scenario. For us and ours, it was partly our worst case scenario because we were tied in the middle of it, and we didn't find out it was behind until we got a message from the seller, which is like a punch in the gut, right? It's like, oh no. So those things happen, and I don't think people that are new in this business or new to the strategy understands that.
Was this originally on market?
Mm-hmm.
It was? Okay. So this is, I feel like a really good learning lesson for any agents that see this in the future, because it's not about the highest bid, especially when this is the exit. So many agents want to provide the right service for their seller and squeeze the most money they can. sure, you squeeze the most money you can and you'll get a good deal for them initially, but they're gonna be failed properties. No one's gonna perform on these things. And I think agents have the wrong mindset or just haven't been taught. It's not like you don't know what you don't know.
One thing that I heard recently that I thought was really good in relation to this topic is the idea of making sure it's a good deal for everyone involved, right? If it's a good deal, the chances of this sort of thing happening are very, very slim. So, to help protect a seller, giving the buyer a good deal or something that makes sense is going to be an extra layer of protection that maybe you don't consider as the agent or someone else who's involved in advising the client. That's a good point, Jose.
Myron, I feel like we completely derail your marketing question.
I feel like
This started as marketing.
Yeah.
No, I was answering Mike's question. No, that was 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
It's true with agent, with everybody.
What topic did you want to cover?
Yeah.
let's get the train back on the rails.
No, this is a mastermind. So like, honestly, this type of stuff is where people get value.
Yeah.
Just getting us to bounce ideas and go down a path. This is nothing about this is going to be a straight line.
Well, I wanted to ask you though, how things have gone since last Friday to this Friday for you.
Okay. Pretty decent. We closed a deal. I think we're getting paid on it today. An abstract came in for an Oklahoma deal. So next week we should close somewhere in like the 40 to 50,000 range gross. Just with all the little things that like being pushed. So that will be fun. And then I think the week after is Squad Up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically what I did is like, okay, I need to kind of just decide what I'm doing. So I thought of my plan. And then yesterday I put out a Facebook post. I said, hey, I want to join a team. And I had some really great conversations and talked to some really great people. And it helped me. I'm like, I don't want to just join a team. I want to squad up with people who have done deals, who are doing deals.
Yes.
I don't want to regrow the plant. I want to like just take care of an already growing plant. So like, I don't want to do from a seed. So anyway, going through all those conversations have helped me realize what I want and to get me on track for like, I have goals and then I'm going to go find people that want to do the same thing. That's what I need to do. So.
Good. Did you declutter?
A little bit.
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought.
We cleaned the house.
Yeah. What about your emails and your DMs?
Emails are trash, but my DMs are looking a lot better.
How did I know that was going to be second, Carly? Like that was not going to be the first thing that Myron did.
I have a question about your DMs looking better. Where are you DMs where? Like social on your, because I need help with I need to clean up my DMs.
All right. So
I don't respond to people and it's not on purpose. It's because I read them and I think I'm going to get back to them later. But I have like a classic personal account on Facebook still, so I can't connect it to anything like ManyChat or like.
Oh, that's what I did. I connected to ManyChat.
That's what I want to do and it won't let me. If anybody in Facebook land knows how to connect it.
Why won't it let you?
Because there's a Facebook page that you can connect to ManyChat. And then there's like my Facebook, like when I started, it's my Facebook page, like my personal one that you can turn into a professional dashboard, but you can't sync that to ManyChat.
A professional dashboard or your individual?
It's your individual one that you make a creator, like a professional, so you can. It's like halfway between a personal page and a page.
And why can't you do that?
Because they can't figure it out. Because it's not a page. I can't make it into a page.
Yeah.
Book.
No, my Facebook, what I did was I just looked at, there's a way to filter for unread.
Yeah, I need to do that.
That's what I did. But Instagram, I connected ManyChat to Instagram and started doing stuff there. And yeah, that's what I did. So yeah, I went to unread. Basically, Don, I went to unread Facebook messages and unlistened to voicemails and just started going through them. I deleted I think there was one good one and all the other ones I just deleted. So
yeah. Now, Carly, you and I have the same problem where we see a message because we have a bubble and then we want to go check it out and like, oh yeah, I'll answer that. And then you never go back and check it. So if you do the unread option, just don't read them. Like
and only, I know.
Only read the ones from your friends.
But I don't like the bubble.
Or
I don't like them.
Hire an assistant and have your assistant. I'm having her go through all mine, and then I'm having a canned message to say, "Hey, go here, do this, do that," and then all the ones that are deals, I said, "Bring me the deals," and then she's sending them to the guys.
Is your assistant local?
She's in my office right now.
That's my next thing after reading your book that you told me to read. Buy back your time.
Yeah,
you gotta read it. I'm telling you, it's helping us so much.
Carly's getting an assistant.
By the way, Luciano's in the back stage.
Luciano with the good hair.
He's been in jail.
Oh. Bro, sorry.
I just remembered.
I want to be a fly on the wall for when Myron's interviewed by another team and the question's asked, so what makes you a good fit for this team, Myron? What have you done that would make you a good fit?
Well, I gave it a freaking shot.
You were, I had to scroll down to see you. That's why you were sitting there, man. I didn't know.
It's all right. You know what I was doing? Clearing my inbox.
Well, you're not.
They're talking about it. I'm just going to go through and sometimes double tap, sometimes do whatever I need to do. I get it though. Like, that's like a struggle. It's such a struggle to keep up with inbox and topic. Because I mean, you can keep up with it, but like it fractionalizes my attention a lot throughout the day to the point that I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting nothing done. I know Pace does it early in the morning, and I think I might copy that where he posts those videos and pacing in his office, pacing, and just do it that way, or at night, and just really respond to the important ones. As a matter of fact, I have the focuses on my iPhone. I have like a work focus, and in there I have like, I don't know, people that I'm currently working on like deals. Like Jose, you're in that focus. We're doing Lockwood. When you hit me up, it rings, other people aren't, and it just depends. So those help, but like, yeah, it's a battle. Messages are tough.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it looks like when you hear like Pace. Oh.
I feel so bad because when we had, I guess, the last elephant challenge or the challenge before that, I got inundated with messages and then I couldn't find some of them. It kept saying I had messages and I didn't have messages, and I kept filtering and unfiltering and still couldn't find them. Then all of a sudden, like last month, they all popped up. I'm like, where the hell were these at? There was like 100 of them. And I felt bad because they were over like a few weeks, if not a month old, and I just deleted them if it wasn't like something super important. Because here's my thing. I take Tanisha's stance on this a little bit, is that if someone really wants to talk to me, they'll send me another message, right? So then I'll do that. But if it's like, hey, do you have time to chat? I'm like, hey, I would love to. Here's my Calendly. And if they don't book it on my Calendly, I'm so sorry. I just don't have the time.
Yeah,
just don't.
and I think for all of us too, I know some of us are doing it and some of us are planning on it. It's creating some of that evergreen content. Like I just did an ovation thing for the DFW regional group, and I had people hit me up about it who heard about it or who saw that we just closed on one and saw Leo made a really funny post and stuff too. And so I got messages about that, and then they're like, "Hey, can you teach me innovations? Can we get on a call?" And I'm like, "Well, first ask, are you in sub 2? Because I usually don't know based on messages." And they're like, "Yes." I was like, "Perfect. I'm so glad." So I actually just did an 1.5-hour training on this. If you find it in Kajabi, go look there, write your hot questions, because I'm telling you this and I'm telling 10 other people this. And the only reason I'm doing that is so if I have like 3 hot questions, I'll do a Zoom with all you guys and make sure you guys know exactly what that is. So then that's evergreen. And that one will also get recorded. So when somebody asks me a month later, "Can you teach me innovations?" I'll say, "Hey, go look at this one first, and you're going to have these questions most likely, and then go look at this one. And then if you have any other questions, let me know. Or if you have a deal, then we can work it together and, learn and earn. You're getting paid to learn at that point if you have a lead." So evergreen content is kind of my remedy against the teach me something or hold my hand.
Yeah.
So still trying to get a hang of it though. Did I miss anything cool in the last hour?
A lot.
A lot of cool stuff.
You'll have to rewatch it.
and then write my hot questions and bring it to you.
Yeah.
And then tell 10 other people.
We can send you a link.
Perfect. I'll send you my card. Send you my wire instructions.
I'll give you my Blink card.
Man.
Luciano, it was more like sub 2 stuff. So creative buyers not performing, stuff having to go back. Mike had the idea of doing a recovery program where someone's not making their payments, bring them to us, and we'll help you get out of it or whatever.
Oh, that would be really freaking cool. Sub 2 recovery team. You can make that a badge. You tell Pace about that.
Seriously, yeah.
Sub 2 Rangers.
Ooh.
Like park rangers. Oh. Yo, speaking of that, I just had a call with Rinda a little bit earlier, and I was asking her this question because I have a sub 2 right now that I'm likely might assign to a homestead buyer. I just don't feel like wrapping it. But also I'm like, they have like 120K to put down on any house. So financially they seem okay. But, do I trust them financially with a loan? So what I was thinking, I don't know if any of you guys have done this. If you have, please let me know. I was thinking of structuring where the end buyer, who's a homestead buyer, has to put their, buys a house like any other assignment, and then has to put like almost like a holdback or a security deposit in an escrow account, which is equivalent to 3 mortgage payments. And that gets released, let's say 12 to 18 months later, once they make that many payments, because now they've proved themselves. But until then, it's held. That way, if they fall behind, that whoever's that escrow account, I imagine servicing, can start paying the loan while the seller's notified, "Hey, someone's not paying your crap, so you better go after them." But it gives them that 3-month grace if they have 3 payments in.
I would make it more payments than just 3 months if it were me.
6.
Yeah. I would say minimum 6. If they got 120K to put down, maybe have them put a year.
True. Has anybody done that or ever?
Luciano, that's what I was going to do on any of our next wraps is like, okay, we have to put away so much for if they miss a payment or when they're late, because a lot of times they're late and I'm like, we're going to have to make this payment, So that's definitely a good idea. That's what I told the guys. I said, next wrap, we're holding money back.
And I would say on top of that too, Angie, like you said, is servicing. I think servicing needs to be a requirement on sub 2s and on wraps.
Definitely, because if they make an extra payment, then you have to go through that whole entire amortization schedule and fix that. I'm not doing that.
And it also cuts out the issue that if a seller decides to change the login information or make it difficult for you to make a payment, guess what? You can still make a payment because it's coming out of servicing. And it's going directly to the mortgage company. So you cut all of those issues out. Again, this is a learning lesson from us that we need to stop making it to where it's up to the buyer to have servicing or not have servicing. They can choose whichever servicing company they want, but it needs to be done prior to closing. Like,
Luciana,
Yes.
the holdback funds you were talking about, that would go into servicing, or you're talking about title holding back?
he's talking about escrow.
I would imagine servicing. I would imagine servicing the escrow account. Yeah, and that's what I was asking because I haven't done it, but I plan on doing it on this SUBTO if I can get the buyer, because I just don't. I'm gonna sign it, so I'll be out. Depends on what state. In Texas, you still have liability.
You should just wrap it. You should wrap it, Luciano.
Then you can have some recourse to get the property back.
Yes, yes, and then you're involved, and then, because when you sign that and you let it go, they're gonna come back to you.
Anyways,
You're
so
still
you
gonna
might
have
as
to
well
come
just
back.
get the property back.
Yeah. Get another down payment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll have escrow or reserves.
Yeah, I was talking about this. I know somebody. Yeah. Isn't there something you can put in a promissory note that gives you the first rights? Like if they default, like you're not wrapping it, but if the buyer, the end buyer defaults, goes back to the seller, you're not in the middle. You're not another bank in the middle per se, but something where if
First right of refusal.
like a first right of refusal.
Well, so here's the thing. I could be wrong, but in that situation, you still have to wait for someone to foreclose on that property in order for you to get first right of refusal. And that could take a long time.
Couldn't that be done through servicing? When the payment is missed, now that kicks in.
Now we're getting creative.
Maybe, but wouldn't it still have to go through a formal closing or formal what's the word? Foreclosure through the county?
I'll do this. I'll do this whole deal, and then we'll have another one of these, and I'll say, "Hey guys, this is how I did it."
Thanks, bro.
That's how we all learn, isn't it?
It shouldn't have to get to that level that the foreclosure is needed. It could be done in the servicing realm.
But I think a lot of it depends on the relationship of everyone involved.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that the buyer isn't willing just to sign everything over, because we can't really have a pre-signed deed that just transfers.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going to require is for the buyer to say, yeah, I agree to give this back to the seller. That's without having to go through a foreclosure process.
Yeah, I've seen a promissory note written like that the buyer can choose to give it to the seller, and the seller can choose to accept it if they have a satisfactory title report. Because for all you know, the buyer put 50 other liens on it, and at that point, you don't want to have that deed back, period. You know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and what state is this in, Luciano? California?
Arizona.
Yeah, I don't know Arizona law, but I know that in Texas, things can move really, really quickly if you do have a promissory note and a deed of trust. So that's why I think that's probably the preferred method. I think for me, at least, that's my preferred method. But
yeah, I'd agree. Like, that's your instrument of security.
But the first time that I ever heard of escrowing payments was from Myron a few months ago, from buyers, and I thought it was genius.
Time to put it into play. And I think it's important. I think it's a good play to teach people, especially if, you don't know the buyer's going to pay. I mean, if it's somebody with like with a big portfolio, if they can show some proof, because when you assign to investors, I mean, a lot of time really we're almost taking the reward for them being able to do it. And I would say most times they do well, but we don't hear about those times. We only hear about the few that go wrong, and the more people that do this, the more that will go wrong. I don't know if the proportion changes, but if we can make that wrong even smaller by just applying a few different things, like if the buyer maybe, I don't know, doesn't hold X amount of assets, I'm not sure how you prove all this, but if you can essentially in a way say, hey, that's a credible buyer, qualify him in a sense, then sure, you don't need no escrowed funds. But if it's your first buy and hold, it doesn't have to be your first SUBTO, because I've sold to people's first SUBTO and they've had like 100 doors. That's fine. But if it's your first buy and hold and you're taking over on SUBTO that had arrears, That's a delicate thing. And now you add an FHA loan on top of it, and now you add a down payment assistance. I would never, it's just, escrow funds need to happen.
We've been talking. I've talked to Myron a little bit about this. I think I talked to Carly and obviously Don about this too. But the idea of standardizing a protocol to assign a deal to a buyer and how you actually underwrite them as a buyer, right? For example, if they have done these kinds of deals in the past, what is their history? Let's see what that looks like. Let's talk to, even the wholesaler who assigned it to them. For example, check out bank statements, check out liquid assets, check out these sorts of things that can help protect the seller in a way that isn't just, hey, you're willing to buy it for 30 grand entry fee, here, take it. That's been scary recently.
Yeah.
Is like you said, you vouch for your buyer to the seller, right? This is a person that I trust.
Even if you don't, the assignment itself is a vouch.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So if we could standardize it, I think that would definitely help, because here's the thing is that if I go to a new buyer of a sub-2 and I say, I want you to escrow 3 months worth of $2,500 payments, that's going to increase their perceived entry fee by $7,500.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
And that money's just going to sit there, right? It's just kind of there.
Inflate.
Yeah. So, I don't know what the best solution is, but maybe after a certain amount of time, then it can be withdrawn or given back or whatever.
Yeah.
I would say it always remains, and you just keep filling the bucket.
Yeah. Or even a collaborative effort where your assignment, hate to say this part, but assignment can, get reduced to make up for that. For example, what I've had done with a buyer before, especially with arrears, I tell the buyer, your entry fee is, for example, $25,000, and my assignment is equals. Now I write this in the assignment fee to be equals $25,000 minus agent commissions minus arrears minus cash to seller. So whatever number that is. And why do I do that? Because I know freaking arrears can come back a little bit higher. I do my best to estimate them, but now if I have a buyer at 25 and suddenly arrears are 29 and my assignment was 15 and now it's 11, I'd rather take 11 than have a buyer back out right at the end. And now that buyer, it's like, dude, thank you so much, because you held your word on that. Now, if it comes back ridiculous, then it opens up a different conversation. However, any of us, and I'm pretty sure we all know our own contract, it does have that section that says the buyer's performance is conditioned upon the reinstatement amount of this or less. And so if I think they have 10K arrears, I always put 12,500 or 13,000. I've cushioned. So if it comes back beyond that, then obviously a new conversation. But anyway, I have a net entry fee to my buyers, so they don't get hit with something random at the end. We're sorry, dude. Sucks to suck. It's I try to do good by them as well. So I just did that with a property that I regret assigning, like every other property I assign.
Well, and here's kind of where I'm at, and I'm probably speaking for you, Don, but I think just knowing our conversation in the past, I think where we want to be is in a position sooner rather than later where we're buying the creative deals that make sense. And, that's it as far as creative goes. I'd rather not assign deals if I don't have to.
Yeah.
I'd rather buy everything and figure out what I want to do with it, but have control of that. Because I trust myself much more than I trust someone who I don't know, right? And at the same time, to your point, Luciano, it's why did you regret selling a sub-2? It's because it probably went up in value, or it was just a great deal somehow, right?
Yeah. The MTR numbers were a little sweeter than I had expected.
Yeah.
Because I don't do that. And then my buyer, which I'm glad it happened, because this actually connected me with other people, and this is how I ended up learning this, right? Then they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna make at least this much. This is conservative each month. And I was like, in 2 months, that's my assignment. Like, are you kidding me? And so, but now I have that contact, and now I get to, I got paid to
Learn.
have a better connection. That's the way I always see it every time.
Love it.
Yeah, we're getting paid to learn not to assign creative deals.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
And
go.
no one is saying creative is bad, anybody that's watching. It's just you get to a certain point that you realize, oh my gosh, why did I just assign that? I should have kept it.
Yeah, you start getting better at kind of what you're looking at, and I totally forgot that we're off streamed here. So I'm so used to just Zoom and us chatting. I'm just so used to that. And then, you just start learning the ropes. You start learning the ropes, and you realize that a 10K assignment is literally 2 months of an MTR booking. I have an MTR, and I had it for $7,100 a month for 6 months one time. That's more than this one, but it's like, dang, like that's an assignment every month for doing nothing.
Well, and I think back to our last year, and we did over 20 deals, and I'm like, man, we could be sitting on 20 properties right now that may or may not cash flow, but most of them had really good interest rates, and they would have paid off over time. Even if they didn't cash flow as a long-term rental, there's another exit strategy that we could have explored to increase that, right? So, and plus, I think everyone has Pace in their ear. Like, why didn't you just buy it? Why are you assigning it? It's like, well, Pace, I can't. And that keeps playing over and over in my mind. I'm like, how in the world? But now that we're at this point, like that makes total sense. Makes total sense.
And Myron, I see you as an operator in a lot of ways. I see you as owning a lot of property, whether it's midterm or long-term or whatever. That's kind of what I see. I don't know.
He's like behind the scenes, just controlling every property, figuring out the best exits. And
yeah, like he's wearing spectacles and he's like twiddling his fingers, and he's like, excellent, like Mr. Burns.
How can I demolish BlackRock?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's the only thing that's stopping us from doing that is funding for all the deals, right? It's the only thing that's stopping us at this point is having a really solid amount of funding in place to do it.
I don't think so.
If you have a good deal, you'll find that money in like an hour.
Yeah. So it's really the fear of having the money, right? Having someone else's money and being responsible for that. That's what it is.
Okay, so like let's say $40,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. We can find $40,000 today. And what would you give that person?
As a return?
Yeah. Well, how would they work? How would they be worked into the deal? What would you do?
You could do it a couple different ways, right? You could bring them on as a partner.
But what would you want?
I would want, I think, what I would want is just a long-term private lender. Personally, I'd want to pay them.
A lender, not a partner.
No, I think that the fewer partners you have, I think the less complications you have, especially if you're looking for money from people and you have 50 different people that you're borrowing money from as partners. What I would rather do is just pay them on a monthly basis.
Okay. So you buy a deal and you're going to wrap it. You said you want to do a bunch of wraps. Okay. So you're going to front load 6 months or whatever you're going to front load. And what if it goes past 6 months? Or what if it just doesn't cash flow?
The cash flow thing, I'm not worried about the cash flow thing. I've never been in a situation with a wrap where it's even tight on that. Okay. But I think that the payment, let's say it goes past 6 months, that's the fear. That's the biggest thing for me is, I would just have to fund it myself. Right. But that's a risk that you have to take.
Okay. And if you brought on a partner, like you just give that somebody's coming in with 40K, give them half the deal. You don't like that because they're a partner and you have to like talk to them.
Well, when you say it like that, Myron, I think that if I were doing that, what I'd want to have is a group of partners who can consistently fund deals. Right.
Like
So
a small group of people, like, or one or two that have enough money to consistently fund 2 to 3 deals a month, right? That want to continue to do business with us that way as partners, because then it keeps the circle small, right? We're not managing 50 different partners on 50 different deals. It's 1, 2, maybe 3 partners that we're doing multiple deals with at the same time.
Now you're talking $500,000 to $1 million of a fund just on single family, where they could I'm probably screwing this up for any single family deals, but they could potentially put that into a single multifamily deal.
Yeah.
I talked to a buddy of mine. I told Don this. A buddy of mine was in town. He's a hedge fund manager out of Cleveland. He manages $500 million, small fund, but it's him and a couple other guys. And I was telling him what we're up to, and he's obviously a high level guy. And he's like, "Why don't you just create a fund for that? Why don't you just do it?"
What does that mean?
Well, that was my response. Was what you're talking about. Look, you're the guy on CNBC. I'm on Myron Briley's StreamYard on Zoom. No offense, Myron, but
we're getting there. We got 34 people watching.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that would be a great model, is to have enough access to to funds just so you can pick up good deals as they come across.
And maybe we're thinking about this the wrong way, but I'm curious what y'all would do and what your thoughts are on this, because we haven't done that yet. And maybe we just have a misconception.
I have to run, guys. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thanks, Mike.
Bye, Mike.
Bye.
I love StreamYard, how it has that little, how it shuffles.
So what would you guys do? If you're going to do a bunch of wraps, how would you have the money for that? And how would you want to partner with people or have lenders?
I mean, I think with wraps, I'm no expert, but.
Or if we just bought the property, if we just bought the sub-twos.
If you just bought them, I mean, you have the two structures, PMP or PML. It's just what's the deal going to pencil for? If it's a PML, the question I think everybody asks themselves is, how do you pay them back, or when? So that's one thing. I mean, do you funnel all your equity, all your additional cash flow into, their principal, and then swap them, once they want to get paid off? Or, I mean, if it's something not in real estate, they may just say, keep me on. Like, I'm making more than I was in my stock and with my stocks, right? Now, if it's a PMP, you just got to figure out what that equity is worth to you. Like, the way that I would see it is, if I'm bringing the money in the deal and somebody else is like the operator, and I'm talking the operator, I forget the property exists, right? Think of like Kevin and Cece. They have such a good relationship. That's a 50-50 to me. Now, some people will want 50% for just bringing the money and not finding the deal, not operating. So you got to kind of figure out what's it worth to you, I guess, and what you can afford. So I don't think there's a straight answer on that.
Yeah.
Like this one's like it depends.
Yeah, it depends on the deal, and it depends on the people that you want to work with or may potentially work with in each transaction. I totally get that. I think it's just a matter of like, what are common expectations, right? Because it would be great if I had someone that said, hey, just leave me in. I'm making 12 or 15, 18% on a return. Mm-hmm. That's better than my money sitting in the bank. Would love to have that kind of private money lender. But the ones that we've talked to, let's say in the last 6 months, they come in with the expectation that they'd much rather have, okay, I want to be the partner on this. I want to have 50% ownership and equity and all of it.
And interest?
Do what?
And interest?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, that's what we thought too. But we were like, man, but there were so many of those people that we had talked to, and they're not bad people, right?
Yeah.
Not at all.
They're
but
smart.
It's like, it just seems like all of the favor is with them, right? So it was interesting for us. And so that's why I think Mike had the reaction that he did, is like, well, no, we just rather keep it minimal to a few people that want to do multiple transactions. So that way we minimize how much we're giving away.
Right.
When you're raising, are you presenting the deal and telling the lender to give the terms?
So what we were doing before is we weren't bringing a specific deal. We were just trying to get to know them and how they do their business first, and just understand what types of transactions they've been involved in, what their expectations are. But we have asked, we've used one or two as an example, right? About a past deal that, hey, on this type of transaction, on a low equity, what would you expect with these terms? And it was pretty eye-opening to see their responses. And it didn't change. They wanted all of the benefit to them. And so we're like, okay, is this the standard? And because we didn't really get someone that was a lot different, we're like, I guess it is. I'm like, how are we going to find that golden egg that's going to, give you the terms that is still equitable for each person involved, right? Like, I want the PMLs to make money. I want the PMPs to make money. But there's got to be some equality somewhere in those terms, at least, to make it worth it.
I think it's like, it depends on where they're at. Like, if their investors are going to want more because they know how to make money and their money work for them.
Right.
But like, if you're speaking with somebody who's literally just lost a bunch of money in the stock market, or somebody who's, a doctor or a lawyer who doesn't have the time, but would love to have their money secured by a tangible asset, I bet like they'll be stoked with hearing 8%, in 36 months. Which, if you ask anybody who's in Gator, they're going to tell you to kick rocks so fast, because the value to them is not there, because they know there's something else that's more valuable. And so we do the same thing, right? We're going to go for what's going to yield more and make the most sense when we're looking at an investment strategy.
Yeah.
Kind of like highlights from Rosie says, like, people, he was talking about a speech that somebody else gave, and they asked the lady, like, how much you make? And she's like, 50 grand. And she's like, what would it take to get like $1 million or something like that? And then not knowing how to make $1 million is costing her $950,000 because she's only making 50. So it's like the ignorance that, that he always talks about. And it's the same thing with somebody who would take 8. Not that 8 is bad. It just really depends. Like, if you don't know how to invest and how to move your money, it's going to take you time. It's going to take you, you're going to have to gain the expertise to go and be able to deploy your money for 15 and equity. It's wild. Right. And for somebody like that, 8 is just, it's great.
Yeah.
So it's just equivalent to a level of expertise is what I would say.
I agree with that. There's just a lot of fear around it, I think, for us, because we want to make sure that whose ever money we do use and partner with them on, is that it's taken care of, right? Because at that point, their money is more important than our money first, right? So it's different when it's the bank's money. It's coming from the bank. I'm like, screw the institutional banks. But when it comes to maybe someone that or someone that is in our community and has the same access to us, or even just someone that you've just met, we should treat people's money that way. It's not just free money. It's money that comes with a cost. And if you can't make sure that you have a secure way to pay them back, then don't do the deal. So I just want to make sure that we're doing things the right way, and we're not getting someone and ourselves into a deal that doesn't make sense, right? The amount of money that we need to borrow.
Yep.
So I think that's always going to be there.
What market, Dawn, are you all starting in?
Texas. Any major market in Texas. Ideally, DFW, right? Okay. That's ideal. But because both of us have great knowledge in the other cities, we're not opposed to it. And it makes it easy for us to drive to properties if we need to.
Yep. What do you think about just getting one and then has Mike done wraps before? Does he know how to find wrap buyers and all that?
He did wraps before him and I even
Okay.
partnered up or knew each other. That was his main thing.
Okay, got it. So he'll know how to go and start marketing. So like pick a city, do one or get one. And then when you're doing that, you're going to build a buyer's list. And so, maybe not this house. And then hopefully you'll have maybe a few buyers in line, and then you'll know what to go get next.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not looking over here. I'm looking over here, or whatever. And then you can go just replicate, but go backwards.
Yeah. He loves wraps, and that's all him. We're also any creative deals that we get, we just want to buy. Whether we wrap them or not, we want to buy if it makes sense.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we want to get away from wholesaling as the number one.
Yeah.
And do anything else. So that could be cash deals, that could be fix and flips, that could be wholetails or subtails or whatever it is. But the main game is that we have to start creating some passive income with our rentals or whatever other strategy we pick.
Yeah.
On top of supplementing that monthly income with everything else, just not as much wholesaling.
Right. Not as much wholesaling creative.
Right. Wholesaling cash all day long. All freaking day. The problem is when you do direct to agent for so long, you forget the tricks and the ins and outs with cash and doing direct to seller. So it was funny. What was it? The beginning of the year, we decided to kind of make that shift. And I'm sitting there and I know how to underwrite and I know how to calculate repairs and all that stuff, but I found myself taking a really long time because it was so different than doing creative deals. Not that it's easy, it's just you second guess yourself because you haven't been in the middle of it for so long. And so I thought that was interesting for me. But
I think with creative, when you have a sub 2, because that's been kind of the thing, just straight sub 2, it's like easy. You have the loan, there's no equity, 1K, 2K, 3K, 5K, whatever the seller, and bye-bye. And the PITI is what it is.
Yeah.
And then you just look at rents. Does it make sense? Yes or no?
Yeah.
You should comp, right? Because you want to know how far underwater you are.
Right.
But you're not going to change it because the loan's already there. With cash, you have to have those good comping skills. You have to be able to go and look at, what's the low comp? What's the cash comp? Okay, what's the ARV comp? Well, actually, let me back it up a little bit, because you shouldn't be the highest price house in the neighborhood or your buyer. Make sure you're looking at price per square foot, time on the market. There's all these little things you start having to think, not only as a cash investor doing a flip, but when you're a flipper, you're also become a retail buyer, because what do you do on the back end? You list it to sell to a retail buyer. So I actually find creative underwriting significantly, I'll use the word significantly easier.
Totally.
I can do both. Great, but it's just that one is just straightforward. You have the loan, you have the PITI, you're not changing it. The other one, you can look at, do you want this on the reno? I mean, this is for the buyer to choose, right? But like, you could spend $50 a square foot. You could also spend $30 a square foot. But what comps are we looking based on what we're calculating? So there's more variables.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you. You get into a rhythm when it comes to doing creative underwriting. It's very simple.
Yeah. It's like plug and the calculator spits out. Like, yeah. And then if there's equity, well, how are we going to amortize it, or how are we going to pay it, and what's the balloon? It's that part is just like, how do we make it to where I could still have cash flow?
Yeah.
If that's what you require. If you don't, what do we have to make it in order? That is the one flexible point, is if you have equity. Otherwise, there's no flexibility, which can be nice.
Yeah. So that's our plan. We're going to do less creative wholesale and do everything else.
Just be very careful. Be careful when you're running into these future cash deals here at the beginning of the summer. Yes, you can get decent cash deals, but be careful with the market change.
Yeah.
It happened to me so many times when I was flipping 2010 to 2021. There was a ton of times where I just understood where the market was. At the end of November, December, the prices dropped. You could get in on a great flip at a great price, and you're hitting the tax season market once you're finished with the reno. And a lot of people don't see those things for the future. Same thing with springtime. Kids get out of school, bunch of houses come on the market. Everybody floods the market. You should never buy in that time.
Yeah.
My opinion. But now with the state of where the economy is, I have no clue where this thing's going to go. Every year I've been able to guess it, and it's on point. But this year, there's too much.
I think it's going to go up again. Everyone's saying it's going to go down. I think it's going to go up.
That's what had me holding back from holding anything, creative or cash. It's just there's too many unknowns for this coming September.
Yeah.
So I do want to see where it goes, because if it does go down a bit, then the gamble was worth it to wait. Yeah. But if it doesn't, everything's going to keep going up, and I can't even imagine who the heck can afford these houses.
Yeah. Then everyone's going to start jumping into multifamily. I think that's what's going to happen, is everyone's going to start jumping into that. Because that's where a lot of people are going to have to go, because they can't afford homes.
Multifamily on the apartment side, you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to sell and go live in an apartment. Or they're going to just buy, get an apartment.
Yeah, or the rent by the room is going to be real big. Pad split, because it's a lot cheaper,
Which puts SUB2 back on the map. You just got to assign it correctly.
Or I was having this conversation with someone else. I was kind of thinking about how if it's not apartments and someone needs a cheaper kind of home, then I was thinking it was going to be like either RV parks or mobile home parks are going to be big. And by the way, a lot of those mobile homes and modular homes, they're nice. Like they've upgraded a lot of them as far as the inside goes. I was kind of crazy. I was shocked by that. But
oh yeah, they're really nice, especially because they're built indoors. So yeah. They're not sitting outside all weathered. Some mobile homes in California are $1 million.
A mobile
I'm sorry,
home?
what?
Yes. Yes.
No.
Bruh.
No kidding.
And Luciano, you want to move out that way? I think you need to go to the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh my God.
That's
Also,
wild.
funny story about mobile home parks or tiny homes or RV parks. I heard that Hilton is starting to buy up mobile home parks and tiny home parks. Yeah.
With what purpose?
Do what?
With what purpose?
Well,
resort?
because glamping is kind of coming back into the scene, and so they're doing some testing on a few sites. So we'll see. But this is something that I heard from somebody else that it may or may not be a thing, but I thought that was interesting. If that is a little bit of tidbit of what's going to happen, that's interesting, and that they're trying it out.
They're seeing things that are way bigger that we can't see yet.
Yeah.
Forecasting teams.
Well, yeah, guys. I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna grab some food.
Same.
I gotta do the same.
All right.
So.
Well, Myron,
thank you for hosting this, putting this together.
Don't forget to read your books. Buy back your time.
Yes, ma'am.
and declutter.
Still working on that. I only got 2,000 more to go.
Oh my God.
Go.
You're gonna do this same time next week, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to keep it up. I like it. I like a few of us come on. It's a different topic. It kind of ebbs and flows. The conversation goes different ways. I think it's fun.
I do too.
It's fun. Me too. I think so.
Bring
Thank
your
you guys for
problems. Let's talk about it.
Sweet.
Oh, I have a problem. Does anybody know an attorney in Corpus Christi we had a house burn some kids burned it, and so we bought it creatively, okay, but then we were literally selling it on a Wednesday, and these kids burned it on a Sunday. So we didn't have all the paperwork, like as if because we were just wholesaling it.
Got it.
So, so now we're struggling with the insurance company, and then the attorney fired the seller because he won't respond. So I said, well, I had him sign a power of attorney to let me talk, and they said, no, sorry, no, we're still firing him.
Wow.
So now I got to start all over, and I've called the bar, the Texas bar. I've called lots of attorneys in Texas, and I can't find one.
Angie, Molly may have one because they have doors in Corpus.
Okay.
Inside of top tier, everybody recommends Tiago Title.
Tiago Title?
Tiago Title for
Do they have an attorney?
Yep. 2 or 3.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And
a lot of these attorneys that I'm calling, they don't do these types of litigation. Like they're for the insurance company. They're
ask
fighting
them for a referral. Like if you call Tiago, ask them if they have a referral to someone that works with fire damage properties for this scenario.
Perfect. All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Myron.
Thanks, everyone.
Enjoy your weekend.
Thanks, everyone.
And next week.
Yeah, see you next
See you
week.
guys.
Woo!
See you next week.